Decentralizing the truth. Headline: Rafa's wooden racket story brought millions to tears. But there's one problem. Welcome back to Pro Tennis 360, where we don't just report on tennis. We dig into the stories the mainstream media is afraid to touch. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button right now, because today we are exposing one of the most viral stories in modern tennis history. And believe me, the truth behind it will make you rethink everything you read on social media. Imagine the scene: Rafael Nadal, the king of clay with 22 Grand Slams, standing across from the rising Filipino star Alex Eala. The air is thick with emotion, legacy, expectation. Rafa, the man who fought through countless severe injuries, the man who made millions of fans weep with his indomitable spirit, reaches out and hands the young girl a gift. But this isn't just any gift. According to the story spreading like a virus across every social platform, it was a vintage Dunlop Max Ply wooden racket, the kind Rod Laver and John McEnroe used during the golden age of tennis. And on the handle, engraved or written in Rafa's own hand, were the emotional words: "You have that fire inside you. Don't let any noise put it out." The young girl, completely overwhelmed, reportedly whispered just 10 words in response. 10 simple words that allegedly reduced the hardened tennis legend to silence, tears streaming down his face, his heart too full to speak. Sounds like a Hollywood script, doesn't it? It's the perfect passing of the torch moment every sports fan dreams of witnessing. The story has absolutely exploded, racking up millions of views, thousands of likes, and endless shares from Manila to Madrid. But here is the million-dollar question we at Pro Tennis 360 felt compelled to investigate. Did this tear-jerking magical moment actually happen? Or is this just a piece of digital fan fiction designed to pull our emotional heartstrings and generate sweet, sweet clicks? Today, right here on Pro Tennis 360, we are peeling back the layers of this viral phenomenon to separate fact from fiction. Stay tuned. Details of the viral story. Headline: Why millions believe this story. Before we dig into the truth, let's analyze why this story spread so fast. It's because the details are incredibly specific, and that is exactly what makes these kinds of stories believable to the average reader. The viral narrative claims that Nadal, sensing his retirement was near after years of battling injuries and time, specifically chose Alex Eala as the spiritual successor to his legendary fighting legacy. The story emphasizes that he gave her a rare Dunlop Max Ply, described as a wooden relic from the romantic era of tennis when Rod Laver and John McEnroe dominated, personally signed by Rafa with that inspiring message about fire and noise. The emotional kicker? The dramatic claim that Eala's response consisted of 10 carefully chosen words that left the usually composed Nadal speechless, with watery eyes and a heart too heavy to reply. This is exactly the kind of headline that makes you stop mid-scroll. We want to believe it's true. We love the romantic idea of the old generation recognizing and nurturing the fire within the new. It fits perfectly with the carefully constructed narrative of Rafa, the humble champion, the gracious opponent, the passionate mentor. And it fits Alex Eala perfectly, the hard-working underdog from a developing tennis nation, carrying the dreams of millions of Filipinos. But when our team at Pro Tennis 360 started digging through tennis archives, cross-referencing interviews, scouring photos from official events, and checking timestamps on social media posts, significant cracks began to appear in this perfect picture. And the first crack, the one that made us raise our eyebrows, was the racket itself. The problem with the Dunlop racket. Headline: Why a Dunlop racket is a massive red flag. Let's talk equipment for a second. If you know anything about Rafael Nadal, you know he is a creature of extreme habit. He is famously superstitious, obsessively perfectionistic about his routines, fiercely loyal to the brands that support him, and most importantly for our investigation, he is absolutely, unequivocally synonymous with one brand, Babolat. Throughout his professional career spanning over 2 decades, Rafa has exclusively used the Babolat Pure Aero and its predecessors. His relationship with Babolat isn't just a sponsorship deal, it's a career-long partnership. The company literally designs rackets specifically around his unique playing style. The idea of him suddenly gifting a vintage Dunlop Max Ply to anyone, let alone a young protege, is bizarre and makes zero sense when you understand the business and personal relationships in professional tennis. The Dunlop Max Ply is indeed a legendary frame. It was the weapon of choice for John McEnroe and Rod Laver. It is a beautiful piece of tennis history that belongs in a museum. But here is the critical detail that punctures a hole in this viral story. Rafael Nadal has absolutely no historical connection to Dunlop as a brand or to the Max Ply as a model. It would be exactly like Michael Jordan suddenly gifting a promising young basketball player a pair of vintage Converse Chuck Taylors instead of his iconic Air Jordans. It lacks logic. If Rafa were truly going to pass the torch in a deeply meaningful ceremony, wouldn't he give a babolat that had been used in actual battle? A racket that had tasted the red clay of Roland Garros? A racket that survived a 5-set thriller against Federer or Djokovic? The choice of a wooden Dunlop in this fabricated story screams fiction to anyone who understands the Pro Tour. The 10 secret words is a classic clickbait tactic. Then we have the supposed emotional peak of the story, the 10 mysterious words that allegedly made Rafa cry. This storytelling device is the absolute hallmark of what we call engagement bait in the digital media world. Notice one thing. The story conveniently never actually tells you what those 10 magical words were, does it? They want you to click the article. They want you to desperately search the comments. They want you to share it with friends and ask, "Oh my God, what did she say to him?" It is a deliberate cliffhanger designed to maximize interaction metrics. Our investigative team scoured press conferences from both players. We meticulously watched graduation speeches from the Rafa Nadal Academy. We checked every reputable tennis news outlet from the official ADP website to ESPN, from Tennis Magazine to major international sports networks. We contacted tennis journalists who cover both players. The result? There is absolutely no record of this specific interaction ever occurring. No direct quotes, no video footage, no eyewitness accounts from credible journalists, no social media posts from Rafa or Alex mentioning this meeting. Nothing. Total silence. The sad reality we have to report today is this specific scene, the dramatic presentation of the wooden racket, the handwritten note about fire, the 10 mysterious words, the tears on Rafa's face, is a complete fabrication. It is a story intentionally designed to generate clicks and ad revenue, not to inform tennis fans. But here is the interesting twist that makes this entire situation more complex than just calling it fake news. The real story between Rafa and Alex is stronger than fiction. Even if this specific scene never happened, the underlying premise of the story is built on a very real, very powerful, and very inspiring foundation that deserves our attention. So if the wooden racket story is fake, what is the actual story between Rafael Nadal and Alexandria Eala? Because the genuine reality of their relationship is far more impressive than any made-up ceremony. Alex Eala isn't just a random player Nadal bumped into at a tournament. No, Alexandria Eala is a genuine graduate and product of the Rafa Nadal Academy in Mallorca, Spain. She spent her formative development years training on those very courts, breathing the same Mediterranean air as the legend, absorbing, day in and day out, the philosophy, work ethic, and mental approach that made Nadal one of the greatest athletes in sports history. In June 2023, Alex officially graduated from the academy in a ceremony marking the completion of her intensive training. And guess who was actually there? Rafael Nadal himself. He wasn't a photoshopped cardboard cutout. He was physically present, supporting his students, shaking hands, and publicly acknowledging their hard work. There are real, verifiable photos of Rafa and Alex together at this graduation. You can see the genuine, mutual respect reflected in those captured moments. This is the truth. Rafa's public endorsement is worth more than any racket. Rafael Nadal has been a consistent and vocal supporter of Alexandria Eala. When she made history by winning her junior Grand Slam title, becoming the first Filipino player to ever achieve such a feat, Rafa was right there on his social media accounts with millions of followers, publicly congratulating her. He has specifically highlighted her achievements to his massive global audience. That kind of public endorsement from the king of clay, that kind of validation from a 22-time Grand Slam champion, is infinitely more valuable than any wooden racket could ever be. It is a powerful signal to the entire tennis world that Rafael Nadal personally believes in Alex Eala's potential. Why did the fake story get such viral traction? It's because when you actually watch them play, Alex Eala embodies what we call the Nadal DNA more authentically than almost any other young player. She is a lefty, which creates immediate visual similarities. But it goes deeper than that. She plays with an intensity, a ferocity, and a never-say-die attitude that absolutely mirrors the legendary Spanish competitive spirit. When you watch Alex play, you see that familiar fire in her eyes. You see the emphatic fist pumps. You see the absolute refusal to give up on a single ball. She has earned the nickname, the Filipino Fire. The psychology behind fake viral narratives. Stories like this follow a predictable formula. They take a real relationship, like the mentor-student bond of Nadal and Eala. They add a dramatic prop that sounds plausible, like a wooden racket. They insert a cliffhanger, like the 10 unspoken words, and present it as breaking news. It is clever psychological manipulation, but it is fundamentally dishonest. As tennis fans, we must be smarter. We have to verify information before sharing it. We have to check sources and ask questions. But don't be too cynical about human nature here. The reason this story touched millions is that it taps into something beautiful. The deep desire for meaningful mentorship. We all want to see the heroes of yesterday guiding the heroes of tomorrow. We want to believe that the values of sportsmanship, resilience, and humility are being passed down. The passing of the torch between Nadal and Eala wasn't a single dramatic Hollywood moment. It is something much more substantial. The real torch is passed through hard work. The real passing of the torch is the countless hours spent grinding on the practice courts in Mallorca under the Spanish sun. It's the quiet conversations between points where a coach offers a small adjustment or a word of encouragement. It is the culture of relentless hard work that Nadal and his team have built into the foundation of his academy. When Alex Eala steps onto a court now, she isn't carrying a wooden Dunlop Max Ply. That racket doesn't exist. But she is carrying something far more valuable. She is carrying the mental toughness needed to handle pressure points. She is carrying the humility to keep grinding even after a big win. She is carrying the example of what 20 years of dedication to excellence actually looks like. Rafael Nadal didn't need to give Eala a racket to pass his legacy. He gave her access to a world-class training environment. He gave her a roadmap to success. Most importantly, he gave her a living, breathing example of how to carry oneself as a professional athlete. What's next for the Filipino Fire? Let's shift away from fiction and focus on the exciting reality of Alex Eala's career. What is next for the Filipino sensation? Alex is currently in the middle of the notoriously difficult climb up the WTA rankings. The transition from juniors to the Pro Tour is the hardest jump in tennis. A graveyard of broken dreams for many prodigies. But Alex is showing all the right signs. She is playing with more power on her ground strokes than she did in her youth. Her serve is becoming an even bigger factor in her matches. Most importantly, she looks mentally sharper and more composed than ever. The influence of the Rafa Nadal Academy is clear in her improved physicality and court coverage. She is becoming a legitimate threat on all surfaces. She doesn't need a manufactured viral moment to define her legacy. Her racket does the talking. Her powerful forehand does the talking. Her fighting spirit does the talking. And the millions of passionate Filipino fans waking up at 3 a.m. in Manila to watch her matches, they are making the real noise that actually matters. The truth is always powerful. Here is our final verdict. Is the story of Rafael Nadal gifting Alex Eala a vintage wooden racket true? Absolutely false. Did Rafa break down in tears over 10 secret words? Absolutely false. But here is what is verifiable truth. Is the relationship between them real? 100% yes. Is Alex Eala the torchbearer for a new generation inspired by Rafa's example? Without a single doubt, internet culture created a melodramatic story to celebrate a connection that didn't need any embellishment in the first place. We don't need secret words. The simple sight of Alex Eala fighting for every single point, wearing the Rafa Nadal Academy logo, is poetic enough. Thank you for watching this special investigation on Pro Tennis 360. We are committed to bringing you the truth behind the headlines and the genuine passion behind the game. If you enjoyed this deep dive, hit the like button and subscribe to Pro Tennis 360. Leave a comment below. If the story were true, what do you think those 10 magical words from Alex to Rafa would be? Until next time, keep your eye on the ball and always question what you read online. Pro Tennis 360, signing off.